Okay, so welcome. We've got a 45-minute super chill sequence ahead of us. Kind of a blend of restorative yin, just some super slow movement today. We won't necessarily do as long a hold as what we would do in yin for all of these poses, but I just really wanted a slowdown, particularly as we move into this really, really busy time of the year. Regardless of how you celebrate, the energy around us really shifts. Um, so I know for me, I have to be much more intentional about just slowing down. So that's what today is about. So if you like props, grab props. Blocks are nice. I've got a bolster, a big pillow works just as well. I don't have a yoga blanket yet. It's on my Christmas list. So I just use a huge beach towel. But you can do everything without props as well. It just depends on what you're feeling today. So we'll actually start in on our backs with a heart bench today. So if you've got a bolster, that can feel really great. You can also just come right down to the back. Or if you know how to set up a heart bench with blocks, then by all means, set that up. So setting the bolster long ways at the top of your mat, just scooch your hips back. Allow your upper body to drape over the bolster. And as you do that, find the shape that works for your legs. I really love a reclined butterfly in this shape, but maybe Shavasana legs, for instance, are speaking more to you today. So find the shape that allows you to physically settle into this space. And once you find that physical shape, take a deep, full breath, draw it through your heart and into your belly, and feel the belly rise with that breath. And then open up your mouth, deep, long exhale here. Another deep, full breath all the way to the base of the belly. Pause on that inhale. Open up the mouth. Exhale, let that go. And as you settle in, find the natural rhythm to your breath, not forcing the inhales or the exhales. Just allowing the breath to anchor you into this space and into your body. And as we practice today, I invite you to practice from a place of compassion. In yoga beyond our mat, one of the ethics is ahimsa. And this is the practice of non-harm. And a lot of us do a really great job of extending non-harm or compassion to others. But yoga, it reminds us that compassion cannot just flow outward. So today, as you practice from this place of compassion, I invite you to practice it as an act of compassion for yourself. Meeting your body and your mind exactly where it is today. This class is not about doing or performing. It's simply about softening the edges of how you meet yourself. We choose gentleness over pressure, compassion over criticism. So notice today where you can soften the edges. And take a breath in. As you exhale from wherever you are, guide your feet flat, so knees to the ceiling. Just pause there for a moment. And take an inhale. As you exhale, gently roll off to your right or your left, whichever side is speaking to you, and just land for a moment in a fetal position. Let the arms support you, let the body get heavy. And just feel all the pressure points along the side body as you rest here. And take a breath in. As you exhale, if you've got props behind you, just slide them out of your way and just lay flat to the back. Find a full body stretch when you come to the back. The fingertips reach over your head, your legs extend long, maybe even pointing the toes here. Breathe from your fingertips all the way through the length of your body. And as you exhale, relax that stretch. Move into banana pose from here. So just scoot your hips over to the right edge of your mat just slightly. And now walk your feet over to the bottom left corner. Scoot your upper body towards the top left corner. And now we have several options. We want our hips and our shoulders squared and open. Maybe you draw the right ankle across the left and notice how that extends the stretch down the right side of the body. You can catch wrists overhead, or I'm going for an elbow catch today, so just a little bit deeper. And take a deep, full inhale, just tracing the right side of the body. And as you exhale, soften into that. And as we settle into these longer holds, we find that space where we feel just that gentle tug initially, the resistance. And that's where we settle. We settle in stillness for a bit of time. But then we're not stuck in that space. We can choose to move deeper, or we can honor our bodies and really truly listen. And maybe it's asking you to back off. Both of those are valid. So as you settle here, maybe notice what it would feel like to switch the cross of your ankles very gently and slowly. As you do that, the right ankle unwinds. Maybe the left foot walks a little bit further open. And now the left ankle sits on top of the right. Notice how that changes the sensation and the stretch down the right side of the body. But if that's too much, go to your space, your edge. And take an inhale. As you exhale, gently uncross the ankles and come through a starfish in the middle, nice and slow. So scooching hips through center. Let your feet come wide. Let your arms reach out wide and just soften to the ground as before we switch sides. Notice the tingling maybe along the right side of the body, that fresh blood flow, the energy moving. Take an inhale. As you exhale, we gently fold back through center, maybe shifting the hips just slightly to the left to set up for banana to the other side. So feet walk to the bottom right corner of your mat. The upper torso scooches to the top right. And then you find your shape. Maybe start with a cross of the left ankle over the right, maybe an opposite hold of the elbows. And then notice, have you gripped in tension in order to find the shape? Use the exhale to release the grip and the holds. And again, trace the outer line of the body here. For me, particularly when my mind is super busy, it really helps to simply notice the physical sensations in my body. It keeps me here instead of thinking about to-do lists and grocery lists and all the things. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, if you'd like to explore that switch of the ankles, left ankle unwinds, maybe scooch that right leg just a little bit further, the left follows, and then right ankle crosses on top of left. I notice a little bit deeper sensation through my hip flexor with that fold or that cross that can feel really nice if they're feeling super tight. And then allow ease here, a settling. Take another inhale. As you exhale, unwind right ankle from left, come back through starfish in the middle, scooching the hips center, and just let the arms and the legs take up space. The ground supports you. And now notice the tingles along each side of the body. And on an inhale, draw back through center, full body stretch. So legs come together, arms reach overhead, breathe in. Exhale, hug one knee in and then the other. Rock along your spine as you do that. Just massage all the muscles around your spine, the ligaments around your low back. Maybe the knees fall open and close. You can roll the ankles, the hips, if that would feel good. And settle to the opposite side than you did before in your fetal position and just pause there for a moment. And take an inhale. As you exhale, use the strength of your arms to press yourself up to a seated position. We'll meet in tabletop from here. So just shimmy the legs back, shoulders stack over wrists, hips over knees. Move organically when you arrive. So that doesn't mean you have to go through these scripted cat cows or perfect, quote unquote, perfect movement. Just move in a way that feels good. Circular movements through the hips, the shoulders, the jaw, and the neck can feel really nice. And then find stillness through center. Take an inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart, meet me in a cow pose. And as you exhale, round through your spine, pull pit of belly in and up, maybe wiggle the jaw, spread your shoulders. One more cow. Inhale, belly drops. Exhale to round. And come back to your neutral spine. Tuck your toes, press your hips up and back. Find downward facing dog. But instead of a super active dog, just let it be passive. Drop into your shoulders. into your hips. Maybe pedal through the heels. Let the head be heavy. And take an inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees deeply. Look between your hands, just little tiptoes all the way to the top of the mat. Find a ragdoll. Feet hip width apart, knees bend deeply. Grab opposite elbows and just get really nice and heavy here. You want your belly to connect to the tops of your thighs. Your low back and your hamstrings have a moment. Another deep, full inhale. And as you exhale, release your fingertips. Inhale, lengthen halfway, palms come to shins. As you exhale, find a fold. We'll step our left knee back. Now, we're going to spend a little bit of time in dragon, and which is lizard pose and vinyasa. So if you want to pad up your back knee, by all means, please pad up that back knee. And I like blocks here just because my hips are just perpetually tight. So we'll start up nice and high on the blocks, but I've got my right foot out wide to the right edge of my mat. Blocks are on the highest setting. And just take a moment just to wiggle the hips a bit, maybe in a circular motion back and forth. We're not worried about perfect form or aesthetics here. Really want to be quiet enough to listen to the shape that your body's asking for, to the movement that it's asking for. And then when you've had enough of the wiggling, just pause. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Let that left hip flexor get nice and heavy and open. And as you pause, maybe you notice that it's okay to go a bit further, maybe to forearms or even further. You listen to where your body is and what it's asking for here. This can be a really intense, fiery pose, so honor that. Use the breath to keep you here. Take an inhale. As you exhale, we'll drop out to the outer edge of that right foot. So just dropping the foot open to the side at an angle. I come off the blocks for this. You can stay up if you'd like, but left hand comes nice and wide. Right hand comes to the inside of the thigh here. Let the right shoulder roll back towards your spinal column. Heart opens up. Just feel the difference in the outside of the right hip. Take an inhale. As you exhale, toes move back through center, and we'll step right back into tabletop from here. So that right leg comes back. Make some circles through the right hip in each direction. And right knee finds the earth. Take a deep, full breath in. And as you exhale, another down dog, press it up and back. This time, notice the right leg by comparison to the left. And again, make this a nice passive dog, where your bones just support your muscles. Unless you're, of course, feeling like you want more activity, then by all means, go there. Take an inhale. As you exhale again, a gentle bend and the knees look forward, little tiptoes to the top of the mat. Finding your ragdoll once again. Maybe this time interlace hands behind your head, though. Bend the knees deeply. Let the arms be heavy. Feel the traction along your spine with that shape. Breathe. Take an inhale. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. On the exhale, right foot steps back, lizard lunge on the left. So again, that left foot's just going to be really nice and wide. I'm going to start up nice and high on my blocks. Just wiggle the hips side to side, some circles. This gets into the hip flexors, which tighten from all the sitting. They literally shorten with all the sitting that we do. And then again, after you've moved a bit, maybe you move a bit deeper and we just pause for some time, some stillness. And take an inhale. As you exhale, we'll find that twisted variation. So drop open to the outer edge of that left foot. Right hand can come nice and wide. Left hand to the inside of your thigh. And it's just this gentle pressure, this push and pull. So you feel a little bit more on the outside of that hip. And take another breath. As you exhale, we come back through center. Take the left leg back into tabletop again. Just some circles through the left hip in each direction. And from here, we'll move into a supported child's pose. So if you've got your bolster, that's great. Or you can just come into a regular child's pose as well. Knees will come wide. And as you come to the bolster or the mat, just allow your hips to soften. If you're on the bolster and you have one cheek down, I'll give you a halfway point. If you're on the mat, maybe some shifts of the forehead just for a gentle massage there before you settle. And that's often when we're in these spaces of stillness where our mind begins to wander, and that's okay. We notice it. It's natural. But in meeting yourself with compassion, we notice it without any sort of judgment. And we just draw the attention back to the breath. And if you have one cheek down, you can switch sides from here. Notice that the longer you stay, that initial tension or gripping that you felt begins to diminish. And you simply surrender and allow the props or the ground to fully support you. Take a breath in, exhale that out. You gently begin to draw yourself up and out of this pose. And you can come over to a seat, or if it's comfortable to be in lightning bolt, just sit back to your heels. But we'll set up for a couple of postures on the belly from here. So you'll want, if you've got your blanket, you don't have to have it, but it's just kind of nice to have it at the top of the mat. It's really going to be a pillow. If you don't have blocks, I'll just invite you to come into crocodile. You'll just cross one forearm over the other and let yourself settle there. If you do have blocks, though, take your blocks and a bolster. So this is a lot of setup. You can do all of it, like I said, without props, though. So we'll actually put the bolster or the pillow to the right edge of the mat, and then you're going to set your blocks up in a V. So your shoulders are actually going to come on to the blocks here, and then the pillow is the blanket or the towel or whatever you've got there. Again, crocodile will work perfectly if you don't have all the things to prop up. So I'm going to come down to my belly. And as I do this, just let the hips settle down. The tops of your shoulders are going to be supported on the blocks here. So I'm going to allow my chest to snuggle in between. I like the blanket there on my forehead just to help with a little bit of cushion. And then take your arms out kind of at a V behind you. So not out like a T, but a V. So your palms face the ceiling. Your feet fall open. And then just settle. This adds a gentle opening across the front of the chest, obviously. But as you settle here, start with a breath at the tip top of your head and scan through the body. And notice maybe the points of contact, the different sensations when we're on the belly versus on the back. In this pose, in addition to obviously opening the shoulders, and also has or significantly supports the nervous system too. And softening. Allow the ground to hold you. And take an inhale. Exhale that out. Gently begin to walk your arms up. So think kind of like a Sphinx pose here. Actually, I was wrong. We're not using the bolster for this. I had a moment. I didn't remember where I was going after this. We're going to take one of those blocks and either set it at the top of the mat, or I just put it underneath my towel. So to get my head up a little bit higher for this next posture. Take the other block and set it to the left about that hip height. Pause in your Sphinx before we move, though. So elbows are flat, Come into kind of a mashup here for a shoulder stretch and a hip opener. But before we move, just notice the gentle curve of the spine. Take a breath in. Exhale that out. And now you'll loop your right arm through. So think thread the needle. I'm going to bring my right ear to the mat or to my pillow. And then left knee comes to the top of that block in a half frog. So this is a more gentle, supported thread the needle. May not feel as intense as when you're in a child's pose. So just wiggle around until you find some sensation. And then the left arm can either reach over your head, or I really just like a half bind here. And settle in with this gentle stretch across the back of your shoulder, a little bit deeper opening into the inner groin. A little twist of the spine in a different way. We'll stay for just a bit longer. And take a breath in. Exhale to release. Now gently unwind back through center, drawing left leg back in line with right. Meet me back in that Sphinx pose. Now, it doesn't have to be a super active Sphinx. Just drop in. Maybe even your forehead gets heavy here. And on an exhale, we'll set up for the other side. So that block's got to move over to the right. I thread the left arm through, left cheek comes to your pillow, right hip in line, or right knee in line with right hip. So I'm on or in a half frog on this side. For the other arm, just let it settle where it would like. No expectations. Just a few more breaths in this shape. As you exhale, gently unwind. Meet me back in your Sphinx pose. Maybe the elbows soften even more forward. Just let your forehead get heavy for a moment. And even rock the forehead a bit side to side. And take an inhale. Exhale that out. And as you inhale, slowly rise. Just press yourself up and back. We'll meet in a seat from here. And we'll take a seated forward fold before we begin to make our way back down to the mat. So for a seated forward fold, depending on how tight your hamstrings are, a bolster under the backs of your knees, or even a rolled up your blanket or towel, whatever you're using, just for a little pop behind the knees can feel really good. I'm going to go with a bolster just to get a super deep bend. Still nursing an injury in my hamstring here, so meet my body where it's at by example. Wherever you are, sit nice and tall first. Maybe the hands find the earth next to you. A deep, full inhale. Exhale that out. And then find the natural fold of your spine as you begin to fold forward. You can always put a block to meet you there, or your bolster. But be supported wherever you are. Let the forehead be heavy. And notice the back line of your body, the back line of your neck. We have fascia, which is this webbing essentially that covers all of our muscles. It runs through the entire body. And this fascia gets really tight. But in this time under tension, as we call it, in this type of pose, it allows the fascia to begin to soften, almost like, think about like honey melting. So I like to visualize the fascia. It's like a spider web throughout my body, and visualize it softening and easing as I spend time in poses that maybe particularly feel intense. And take just a couple more breaths in this forward fold. Breathe it in. Exhale, let it go. And inhale, slowly unravel, rise, come back to your tall seat. Let the hands settle by your hips. Maybe even leaning your weight back into your hands, and just pause there and notice. And take a breath in. Exhale, let that go. And if you have any props under the legs, we'll just slide those out to the side. Begin to make our way down to the back. So I'll close this out in a supported bridge and with the option for pontoon, which is the straight legs. If you want just a traditional shavasana here, by all means, please take that. But with our supported bridge, you can use your bolster or a block or just to be on the ground and shavasana. If you're going to meet me in bridge, though, walk your feet back and just slide your prop under your tailbone. Let the props support your back here and support the weight of your body. The palms open to the ceiling. The heart's open here. The hips are open. And you just get this gentle inversion. Just notice the weight of your body supported by the ground, the points of contact, the back of the head, the shoulders, the hips, and the heels. And if you're feeling like you want a little bit more today, you can slide the right leg long and maybe followed by the left to find that pontoon shape, which just is a little bit deeper into the hips and the front body. But again, for these final few minutes, find the shape that honors your body where it is today. And with every exhale, allow the body to soften more. And as we close out, coming back to this theme of compassion, bring to mind someone or something that you care deeply for. And feel that warmth of compassion rise in your chest. Now turn that same warmth toward yourself. And if it speaks to you today, I invite you to repeat after me silently here. May I be kind to this body. May I be patient with this heart. May I remember that rest is sacred. With each inhale, receive softness. And with each exhale, release effort and settle here. And take a breath in, drawing awareness back into the body. And find movement in fingers and toes and ankles and wrists. And if you're still up on your prop, you'll just walk your feet back towards your heels, lift the hips from the prop, slide the prop out from underneath you. Let the hips settle back down. And maybe on an exhale, draw one knee in and then the other, rock just a bit from side to side. Noticing the difference and the sensations in the body at the end of your practice. Gently settle to one side or the other, your choice. Use the strength of your arms to press yourself up to a seated position, sitting tall and comfortably when you arrive. Just let the palms settle to the tops of your thighs. And take a deep, full breath in through your heart space into the pit of your belly, filling up with all the goodness of your practice today. Open up, exhale, let that go. And on an inhale, draw your palms to prayer at heart center. You can close the eyes or just gently bow in. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself today, knowing that this showing up is an act of compassion. The light within me recognizes and honors the light within each of you. Namaste.